Hi guys, so in this video we'll look at valid parenthesis problem. So this is a very classical and very typical of a stack problem. So let's see what the problem description is. So we're given a string and the string is such that it only has characters such as those brackets, and we have to determine whether the string is valid or not. Now, what are the conditions to determine that? So couple of conditions that are open brackets must be closed in correct order and open bracket must be closed by same depth of brackets. So let's look at those examples and we'll get more clarity. So if you look at the first example, each open bracket is closed by corresponding or respective closing bracket. So obviously the string is valid true. Now, if you look at the second example, there are a couple of opening brackets and then there are a couple of opening curly braces, and similarly respective side there are a couple of curly closing braces and couple of closing brackets, so the string is valid. And the third example is uh, there are a couple of opening brackets but there are no respective closing brackets. There is a closing curly brace but there's no opening curly brace, so uh, obviously the string is invalid. So we need to likewise have a code such that we can identify whether each string is valid or not. So it's a very easy problem. Let's go to the whiteboard. Let's look at the approach and then we'll come back and look at the code.
Okay, so to solve this valid parenthesis problem, we'll take these two strings as our base cases and we'll see how we can use stack to solve the problem. So let's look at our first example. So this is our string open brackets, opening curly braces, closing curly braces and closing brackets. So what we'll do is the moment we find a opening bracket, what we'll do is we'll push a respective closing bracket in the stack, and then when we find a closing bracket, we look in the stack and we say, is it matching or is the stack empty, kind of comparisons, and then we'll figure out whether it's valid or not. So let's actually do it and let's see how it goes. So let me just have a stack, simple stack. Let's assume this is a stack. So when we find this opening bracket, what we do is we push a respective closing bracket in the stack. When we find this again opening bracket, we push one more closing bracket in stack. When we find this opening braces, we push one more curly braces, closing curly braces in stack, and likewise one more closing curly braces. So now we are at here. So we pushed 4 items in stack and we've compared 4 strings. And now we find a closing bracket. So when we find closing bracket, what we do is we do stack.pop and we compare it with the current characters. So if it matches, we keep continuing. So we do stack.pop and we compare it with this. So it matches. Now this is gone, right? We did stack.pop. So next we'll check this. This is a closing bracket. So we'll again do stack.pop and we'll compare. So again, this is gone. Same thing. We'll keep doing stack.pop and compare stack.pop. And finally, once string is done, we see if stack is empty, then we say yes, string is valid. If stack was not empty or if some of the condition didn't match, we say string is invalid. So let's look at an invalid example and then we'll understand more. So similarly, let's draw a stack. Okay. So now opening bracket, opening bracket, opening square bracket, opening square bracket. So our stack would become closing bracket, closing bracket, closing square bracket, closing square bracket. So when we are here, we pass these 4 characters. So now we hit a closing square bracket. So what we'll do is we'll pop from stack and we'll compare. So it matches. Again, second closing bracket. So we'll pop from stack and it matches. Now we hit closing curly braces. So we try to pop. but when we pop, we find a closing bracket which does not match. So we say the string is not valid, it's invalid. So straightforward stack problem. Let's see how actual code looks like for this algorithm. Okay.
So this is the final code, pretty much similar to what we discussed on the whiteboard. Uh, so we just iterate through all the characters in the string array, and for each type of opening bracket, what we do is we push the respective closing bracket in stack, and then once we hit a closing bracket type of thing, what we do is stack empty, or if stack.pop doesn't match the character, we say string is invalid, return false. So that's simple as it. And once we successfully parse all the characters and all the string, and if the stack is empty, then we say string is valid. So I've these three simple strings. So let's run it and let's see what the output is. So yeah, there you go. So first two are valid as we discussed, and then last one is invalid. So there you go. That's the final code. So hope you guys like the video. If you learned something new, give me thumbs up. Any feedback, any suggestion, let me know in the comments, and then subscribe for more videos.